friends, I am Arpit and I am here with today's analysis. Today is 12th of April and we are going to discuss the following topics. The Cluster Development Program Suraksha, CDP-SURAKSHA it is named as. It is an online platform to disburse subsidies upfront to the farmers. On this platform, the farmers who want to purchase the inputs for horticulture, I would say cultivation, they register themselves, they raise their demand, and the government calculates the cost, calculates the subsidy, calculates the cost which has to be given by them, and the farmer only has to bear that amount of cost only. Then the bill goes to the seller who is going to provide them with these kind of inputs. The seller raises an invoice with the government. The seller will be receiving the entire amount from the government via an e-rupee token. E-rupee is basically a QR code or an SMS which that buyer will be getting, and that buyer will be submitting it to the seller. So let us look at this digital innovation in agriculture. Now, why it is in news? Because this BJP-led government has come up with a new platform to disburse subsidies to horticulture farmers. So it is specifically for horticulture farmers under the Cluster Development Program. Now, what is the Cluster Development Program? We will see to it also, but yes, just a gist of it. It is basically a geographical cluster which basically identifies regions according to the specialities. Like let's suppose apple, it is a horticulture product. It grows in Himachal Pradesh, Jammu and Kashmir. So that is going to be a cluster of apple. Saffron, Jammu and Kashmir is a cluster. Or for that matter, flowers, Northeast India, West Bengal. These are clusters of flowers. So according to that geographic speciality, clusters are defined and those clusters are developed. Now, this is basically CDP-SURAKSHA, Cluster Development Program Suraksha, an online platform where the cluster officials will be involved in disbursing the subsidies upfront to the farmers. How these subsidies will be disbursed, we will see to that as well. Now, aim of this platform is to push the growth of India's horticulture sector, which contributes to a substantial proportion of the, I would say, gross value added in the agriculture sector. Nearly 1/3 to the agriculture gross value added is coming from horticulture because these products are expensive. The value of these products is big. The total production of horticulture crops has also spiked in recent years. In 2010-11, it stood at 240.53 million tons. The number rose to 334.60 million tons in 2020-21. India is one of the biggest producer of horticulture products all across the world. So another boost, or I would say digital intervention in this domain, is CDP-SURAKSHA. It is essentially a digital platform. Suraksha also has a full form: System for Unified Resource Allocation, Knowledge and Secure Horticulture Assistance. This is the full form of Suraksha. The platform will allow an instant dispersal of subsidies to farmers in their bank account by utilizing e-rupee voucher. So what is this e-rupee voucher? How will it function? We will see, but as of now, we should understand that e-rupee is basically issued by the National Payment Corporation of India. Now, features of CDP-SURAKSHA. What are the features of CDP-SURAKSHA? Has features such as database integration with PM Kisan, cloud-based server space from NIC, UIDAI validation, e-rupee integration, local government directory, content management system, geotagging, geofencing. All these features are there in CDP-SURAKSHA, and every feature has its utility. So we'll see, for example, geotagging and all, geofencing. We will see what kind of utility this kind of features have. Or like e-rupee integration, what kind of feature or why this has been integrated in CDP-SURAKSHA. We will see to it shortly. In this section, how does it work? Now, the platform, this CDP-SURAKSHA, allows access to farmers, vendors, implementing agencies, cluster development agencies, and officials of the National Horticulture Board, NHB. All these people can register themselves over there on this platform. A farmer can log in using their mobile number and place an order on planting materials such as seeds, seedlings and plants based on their requirement. So farmer can log in and raise his or her demand ki I need these things for the upcoming horticulture season. Now, once the demand has been raised by the farmer, the system will ask them to contribute their share of cost of planting material. Now, see, the planting material is subsidized. Subsidy is given on inputs, agricultural inputs, planting material, seedlings, fertilizers, pesticides, and all these are inputs. So, on that, subsidies are given. Now, once the farmer raises the demand, okay, I want these much of the agricultural inputs. Now, this platform will automatically calculate. Now, if that farmer is eligible for PM Kisan, then 2000 rupees automatically upfront will be deducted. Then after that, fertilizer subsidy and all are also given to the farmers. So in that, the system will calculate that how much that farmer has to pay. Let's suppose the input is of 100 rupees. Just an example. Out of this 100 rupees, 40 rupees is subsidy and 60 rupees has to be paid by the farmer. Subsidy in all forms, by either PM Kisan or subsidy on fertilizer, pesticide, anything. All in all, total subsidies come out to be 40 rupees as calculated by the system. 60 rupees has to be paid by the farmer. So, the farmer will only pay this part, 60 rupees. Means the farmer can avail this subsidy of 40 rupees upfront. It is not like the farmer has to pay everything and then the subsidy will be coming in the bank account of the farmer. No, nothing doing. You only pay your share. The rest of the subsidies will be, tackled by the government. It will be paid by the government. The subsidy amount paid by the government will appear on the screen automatically. So this 40 rupees will appear on the screen automatically. After the farmer pays their contribution means 60 rupees. An e-rupee voucher will be generated. The voucher will then be received by a vendor who will provide the required planting material to the farmer. So once this has been, farmer has paid 60 rupees, a total e-rupee voucher of 100 rupees will be generated. This voucher will be in the form of a QR code or an SMS. This voucher will go to the seller, means to the person who is going to provide this farmer with all these agricultural inputs. Once ordered, the planting material is delivered to the farmer. Now that person who has, who has to supply these inputs will send these things to the farmer. Once delivered to the farmer, they have to verify the delivery through geotagged photos and videos of their field. So they have to go to their field, they have to click the photos and upload those photos. The geotagging is there, means the location from where the photos are being uploaded will be automatically uptaken, and which will verify that the products have reached the farmers. It is only after the verification that implementing agency will release the money to the vendor for e-rupee voucher. Now after this, the vendor who has sent this material to the farmer, who has that QR code, who has that e-rupee voucher, will submit the voucher to the implementing agency, and implementing agency, after verifying all this, geotag photos have come or not, I would say invoice has to be submitted by this vendor. All these formalities are done, then only the amount will be released by the government to the vendor directly. This is how it is going to be done. The vendor will be required to upload an invoice of the payment on the portal. IA means implementing agency will collect all the documents and share them with the cluster development authority for subsidy release. Then only subsidy will be released to the implementing agency, and implementing agency will release it to the vendor. Farmer's job is over as soon as he clicks that photo and uploads it on the portal. So this is basically how it is going to work. I'm just going to repeat it in a nutshell. Let's suppose I am a farmer and I'm a horticulture farmer, because this CDP-SURAKSHA is only for horticulture farmers. So I raise a requirement that I need agricultural inputs worth rupees 100. I register myself on the CDP-SURAKSHA portal. Total agricultural inputs are needed at worth rupees 100. The portal itself will automatically identify 40 rupees subsidy, 60 rupees I have to pay. I pay this 60 rupees online, and automatically as I pay this, I would say e-rupee voucher will be generated, and a message will be sent to the vendor that you have to supply these products to this particular farmer. Now, when this message goes to the vendor packs all my stuff. In the meantime, the vendor receives that e-rupee voucher also. But the vendor as of now cannot do anything about that e-rupee voucher because things are pending. The products are delivered to me. I click the photos of those products on my field. These photos are uploaded on the portal. Then the implementing agency will see, acha, the material has reached and the vendor has also generated an invoice. Implementing agency will send all this to cluster development agency. Cluster development agency will release the payment to implementing agency to the vendor. This is how it is going to work. Farmer will be getting the subsidy upfront. Now, what is e-rupee? We need to understand that. A few days ago, we did central bank digital currency, CBDC. That is different. That is e-rupee and this is e-RUPI. This is issued by RBI. This is issued by RBI and this e-rupee is issued by NPCI. Now, CDP-SURAKSHA platform uses e-rupee vouchers from the NPCI. The voucher is one-time payment mechanism. This is the second difference. First difference is issuing agency between CBDC and e-rupee. Second difference is that CBDC, this digital currency, is a prepaid instrument. I had to submit 1,000 rupees over there and I get a voucher of 1,000 rupees. I can spend it in multiple transactions. I went to have tea. I give 10 rupees over there. I'm left with 990 rupees. I went to do some shopping, grocery shopping. I did a grocery shopping of 200 rupees. I'm left with 790 rupees now. This happens in this. But here in e-rupee by NPCI, it is one-time payment mechanism. Means one QR code will be issued or one SMS will be there and I give that SMS from where the transaction has to be done and then the transaction will be done of that amount of which is embedded in that QR code. It can be redeemed without a card, digital payments app or internet banking access at the merchants accepting e-rupee. Now, according to NPCI, e-rupee can be shared with the beneficiaries for a specific purpose or activity by organizations or government via SMS or QR code. So, that vendor who has sold me those products will be having this e-rupee digital, I would say, in the form of, let's suppose, QR code that person is having. So, that person will submit that e-rupee token to the implementing agency and implementing agency, after verifying all these formalities, whether the products have reached or not, the geotagged photos are there or not, invoice has been generated or not. Once the verification of all these formalities are done, payments will be released directly to that vendor once that vendor submits this QR code or this e-rupee token. This is a one-time token. How is it different from the old system? The new system means the CDP-SURAKSHA, the disbursement of subsidies through CDP-SURAKSHA. How is it different from the older system? In the older system, the farmer had to buy planting material on their own. They would then have to approach the officials concerned for the release of the subsidy. The farmers had to wait. Earlier, they had to invest a lot of money because the subsidies then reached the farmers afterwards. The CDP-SURAKSHA platform, however, will provide subsidies to the farmers upfront at the time of purchasing the planting material. Vendors who will supply planting material to farmers will receive the payment only after farmers verify the delivery of their orders. So, it is empowering the farmers. It is empowering the farmers in multiple ways, like they have to spend less. They are getting this assurance of subsidies upfront. The subsidies will only be released to the vendors, or the amount will only be released to the vendors only if these farmers have uploaded those geotagged photos. So these are some certain points which is empowering the farmers, and this is basically happening in a cluster. Now, what is a cluster development program? We should understand this also, because cluster development program Suraksha is basically the full form. Cluster development agency is at the apex in implementing this particular, I would say, scheme. The CDP is a component of central sector scheme. It is a component of central sector scheme of National Horticulture Board. It is aimed at leveraging the geographical specialization of horticulture clusters and promoting integrated and market-led development of pre-production, production, post-harvest, logistics, branding and marketing activities. Means this cluster development program is a one-stop solution for horticulture farmers. First of all, it takes into account geographical specialization. As I mentioned in the beginning, that if there is, a cluster development program for apples, it will be, limited to, I would say, Jammu and Kashmir, Himachal Pradesh, because these are apple growing regions. Or for that matter, if there is a cluster development program for saffron, which is also a horticulture product, it will be limited to Jammu and Kashmir. So geographical speciality of any region where those horticulture products are growing, there a cluster will be formed. And this cluster will provide end-to-end solution or end-to-end support to the horticulture farmers, like market-led development of pre-production, production, post-harvest support, logistic support, branding and marketing activities, all is done by those cluster development boards. So far, 55 horticulture clusters have been identified, out of which 12 have been selected for the pilot project. Means they are not full-scale cluster projects, but pilot projects as of now, and in the future they can become full-scale projects. These clusters are in different stages of development. 4 more clusters, a floriculture cluster in West Bengal. Floriculture means flowers and all. Coconut clusters in Kerala and Tamil Nadu, because coconut is, cultivated heavily over there. White onion clusters in Gujarat are also in the pipeline. So, see, geographical area has been identified according to the horticulture crop. Each cluster will have an implementing agency and a cluster development agency. This implementing agency is that agency which takes those QR codes or those e-rupee vouchers from the vendors, and then they submit it to the cluster development agency, which is at the apex. This cluster development agency, when approves it, then only subsidies are released. Cluster development agency sends those subsidies to implementing agencies to the vendors. This is how process is done in CDP-SURAKSHA, and this is how cluster development program works. How much area is covered under cluster development program till now? Like till now we have 55 clusters. So, covering 10 lakh farmers and 9 lakh hectares of area. It is estimated that the initiative will attract private investment of 8250 crore rupees in addition to government's assistance, which is fixed according to the size of the cluster. So government's assistance is fixed according to the size of the cluster. Rupees 25 crore for mini cluster. Mini cluster is 5,000 hectares. 50 crore for medium clusters, 5,000 to 15,000 hectares, and 100 crores for mega clusters, more than 15,000 hectares. So government support is this much, which is coming in according to the size of the cluster. Now MCQs on this. Consider the following statements and mark the correct one. First statement is geotagging and central bank digital currency are integrated with CDP-SURAKSHA portal. Second statement is subsidies are released upfront to the horticulture farmers if they purchase agri inputs by using the CDP-SURAKSHA portal. Which of these statements are correct? Read it carefully and answer. Which of the following organization issues e-rupee? And we have the following organizations. Very simple question it is. Which of the following statements are true about cluster development program? First statement is it is aimed at leveraging the geographical specialization of horticulture. It promotes integrated and market-led development of pre-production, production and post-harvest operations related to horticulture, and it is a centrally sponsored scheme under NHB. Read it very carefully and answer. Statements might be seeming simple, but they are not.